The movie opens with John, a construction engineer who appears to have everything in life except peace at home. His marriage is slowly falling apart. Every day brings another argument, another painful fight, and in the middle of it all is their young son, silently watching his parents tear their family apart. One day at work, in the middle of the construction site, it suddenly hits John. It's his son's birthday. The realization stops him cold. Maybe today can be different. Maybe today he can fix what's broken. He leaves work early, determined to go home, apologize, and save his family, if not for himself, then for his child. That night, John walks through the door with a calm smile. His wife is surprised. He speaks gently this time. He apologizes. They sit down and talk, and somehow the tension fades. For the first time in a long while, the house feels warm again. Then the television cuts in and shatters the moment. A breaking news alert reports a massive cluster of comets heading toward Earth. At first, it sounds unbelievable, like another late-night conspiracy story. But the anchors grow serious. One of the comets has already entered Earth's atmosphere, directly above the Bermuda region. Seconds later, the ground begins to shake. Birds explode into the sky. Windows rattle. The floor trembles beneath their feet. John runs outside and looks up. The sky seems torn apart. The comet has struck far away, but the shockwave reaches them all the same. This is real. The world is starting to fall apart. John's phone suddenly vibrates. A government alert fills the screen. His family, and only his family, has been selected for emergency evacuation. Outside, neighbors flood the streets in panic. People scream and cry, demanding answers. Why them? Why not us? Are we not human too? But the rules are absolute. Only the names on the list are allowed to leave. As chaos erupts, John and his wife rush to pack. Their son has diabetes, so John carefully grabs his insulin. Just as they're about to leave, a neighbor runs toward them, holding her young daughter. Tears stream down her face as she begs them to take the child along, pleading for her life. It's unbearable. But John knows the truth. If they bring anyone else, they lose their place. They'll all be left behind. They drive away, the woman's screams echoing in their ears. They arrive at the evacuation site, where military planes wait on the runway. The area is packed with desperate people. Some shout, some cry, some fall to their knees, begging to be taken. John's family stands in line, gripping their documents with shaking hands. Just as they reach the boarding point, John freezes. The insulin is still in the car. Without a second thought, he turns to his wife. He tells her to get on the plane with their son and promises he'll be right back. Then he runs toward the parking lot. Minutes pass, then more. The engines begin to roar. John is nowhere to be seen. Panic sets in as she calls out to the soldiers, begging them to wait. My husband ran back to get my son's medicine. Please, just wait for him. He's coming. She doesn't realize she's just made a terrible mistake. This flight has strict rules. No passengers with medical conditions. Anyone who needs treatment or carries medication is immediately denied boarding. No exceptions. Before she can even understand what's happening, the officers pull her and her son away from the gate. Moments later, John comes running back, insulin clutched tightly in his hand. He scans the area, calling their names again and again. There's no answer. He assumes they must have boarded already, just like he told them to do. Panicked and out of time, he slips onto another aircraft, hoping he'll find them inside. He moves down the narrow aisle, his heart sinking with every step. They're not there. The doors close. The engines begin to power up. Confused and terrified, John drops into a seat, still holding the small medicine box. The man beside him notices it. Is that your medication? He asks. John shakes his head. No, it's for my son. The man's face tightens. Then how did you get on this flight? They're rejecting anyone with medical conditions. Patients and their families aren't allowed. John freezes. If they stopped patients, then where is my son? He jumps up, trying to push past the aisle, desperate to get off the plane. But other passengers grab him, holding him back. No one's getting off, someone yells. If you leave now, they'll shut this whole flight down. Outside, everything collapses at once. Hundreds of people who weren't selected lose control. They scream, cry, and slam against the barricades. Soldiers fire warning shots to contain the crowd, but one bullet strikes near a fuel line. The next moment, the evacuation site explodes. Jet fuel ignites in a violent fireball. Screams echo through the night as everyone runs in blind panic. Nearby, John's wife throws herself over her son, shielding him, her hands shaking as she looks toward the burning site. All she can think about is John. Was he on that plane? Was he caught in the blast? She searches through the smoke. There's no sign of him. Everything around her is fire, wreckage, and ash. She knows she can't stay. She rushes to their car and writes a quick note on a scrap of paper. She sticks it to the window. John, I'm going to my parents' house. Meet me there. Your wife. Later, John finally forces his way off the plane, calling for his family until his voice is gone. Then he reaches their car and sees the note on the window. He lets out a breath he didn't know he was holding. They're alive, but the relief doesn't last. Far down the road, John's wife and son stop at a small store, hoping to gather a few supplies. And the moment they step inside, gunshots ring out. Somehow, John's wife and son escape the gunfire. They run out of the burning store, shaken but alive. Through the smoke, she notices a car parked nearby. Desperate, she rushes over, pounding on the window. Please, she begs. Take us with you. Just drop us somewhere safe. The man behind the wheel hesitates, then unlocks the door. Get in, he says. For a brief moment, it feels like they've been saved. As the car moves, John's wife starts explaining everything. The evacuation that failed. The flight that refused to take her diabetic son. How she lost contact with her husband. The driver listens in silence, then lets out a short laugh. So they invited you to evacuate, he says. Then kicked you out because your kid is sick? That's insane. A child like him should be protected more than anyone. But something in his voice changes. You know what, he says. I'll take him back there myself. Her heart drops. No, she says quickly. That place already exploded. You can't go back. If they find out he's sick, they'll arrest him. The man slams on the brakes. Quiet, he snaps. Before she can react, he shoves her out of the car. She hits the road hard, screaming as the vehicle speeds away. Where are you taking my son? The car disappears into the dust, crying for help, waving at passing cars that never stop. The world is falling apart, and no one is willing to risk their life for a stranger anymore. Elsewhere, John keeps searching. He walks through smoke and ruins until he passes. A group of teenagers blasting music, dancing in the middle of the street, celebrating the end of the world like it's a party. Then it happens. A massive fragment of the comet crashes in the distance. The sky lights up. Everything goes silent. John stares at the explosion, hollow and exhausted. The world is ending and his family is out there somewhere, completely alone. He keeps moving until he spots a pickup truck heading north, packed with people. Someone shouts, "We're going to Canada. There's still hope there." John doesn't hesitate. He climbs into the back of the truck. Maybe his wife went there too. Her parents live in Canada. It's the only lead he has. During the ride, a young man sits beside him. He looks about 20, nervous but curious. "Hey," the kid says, "do you know why the government chose certain people to evacuate?" John shakes his head. "My mom's a doctor," the boy continues. "They picked people they'll need to rebuild after the comet. Engineers, scientists, doctors. That's why you were chosen. You're a construction engineer, right?" The boy leans closer. "When we reach Canada, there's one last flight tonight. It's going to Greenland. That's where the shelter is." At this point, other people try to snatch the band from John. The young man tries to stop them, but the situation turns violence in the second. They fight back everything they have, buying John just enough time to escape. But the cost is brutal. The boy is killed in the struggle. John looks back for only a second, his heart breaking, then forces himself to keep running. Meanwhile, the man who kidnapped John's son drives toward another evacuation camp. He carries the terrified boy into the camp, pretending to be his father. "He's our son," the man tells the officers. "We lost our wristbands in the chaos, but you can check his. He's registered." The boy breaks down, crying uncontrollably. "They're not my parents. They kidnapped me." The officers react instantly. They restrain the couple and rush the child to a nearby medical tent. At the same time, John's wife is finally picked up by a kind stranger. When she reaches the same camp, she runs through the crowd, frantic. "Please," she keeps asking, "have you seen my son?" A soldier checks the database, recognizes her name, and leads her to the medical section. Inside, a doctor greets her gently. "Don't worry, we found your boy. He's safe. We gave him insulin. He's stable." She collapses in relief, pulling her son into her arms. For the first time in days, she can breathe. She turns to an officer. "Please, can you help us get to my father's house?" "There's a bus heading that way. I'll get you both on." Elsewhere, John finally reaches his father-in-law's house. Hoping against hope. "Did my wife make it here?" The old man looks confused. "No, she hasn't. Was she supposed to?" John's heart sinks. "We're running out of time. The comet is getting closer. If they don't get here soon..." The old man explodes in anger. "You were supposed to protect them. I trusted you with my daughter and my grandson. How could you lose them?" John says nothing. He just sits there, crushed by guilt. Then the landline phone rings. His father-in-law answers. It's John's wife. We're on a nearby road. Please come pick us up. He rushes outside. And then he sees them. His wife, his son, alive. They run toward each other, crying, holding on like they might vanish again. The world may be ending, but for this moment, they're together. John looks at her and says, "Fragments are falling everywhere. There's only one safe zone left, Greenland. We have to go now." They pack whatever they can. Before leaving, his wife turns to her father, begging him to come with them. The old man smiles sadly. "No, my dear. I've lived my life. I want to stay where I belong. Death comes when it's time. You can't outrun it. Go, live." It's a painful goodbye. She cries, but she understands. She holds his hand one last time, then leaves with John and their son. They drive through absolute destruction. Fire rains from the sky. Cars explode on the highway. Smoke and wreckage choke the roads. The apocalypse is everywhere. John grips the wheel. "Don't panic," he tells his wife. "We can't lose hope. Not now, for our son. We keep going." They race toward Canada. The final evacuation plane to Greenland is already moving down the runway. Without hesitation, John drives straight onto the airstrip, blocking it. The pilot storms out, furious. "Are you insane?" John shouts back, his voice breaking. "Please, I don't care about anyone else. Just my family. We're survivors. My son, he's all I have." The pilot looks at the terrified family, his anger fading. After a long moment, he nods. "Get in." The plane lifts into a glowing red sky. Below them, Earth burns. As they near Greenland, a massive comet fragment slams into the ground nearby. A fiery shockwave tears through the air and strikes the plane. The engines fail. The cockpit is damaged. The plane crashes into a mountain. Everything goes black. Somehow no one dies. The passengers crawl out, shaken and bleeding. Ahead, soldiers wave them forward. They've reached the Greenland military base. The final human bunker. The soldiers rush everyone inside. Seconds later, the great comet hits Earth, a blinding flash. A sound like the planet itself breaking apart. The ground shakes violently. Inside the bunker, people scream and cry. John holds his wife and son tightly. Then there is silence. When the shaking finally stops, the world outside is gone. Poisoned air, burned cities, boiling oceans. The survivors remain underground for months. One day, the bunker doors open. They step outside to a world that no longer looks like. Everything they once knew is gone. But the sky is clear. The air is breathable. They realize they aren't alone. Other bunkers across the planet are opening. More survivors are stepping into the light, ready to rebuild. John looks at his family, holding their hands, and allows himself a small smile. The world may have ended, but for them, it's a new beginning. And that's where the story ends.